Now, going into the college football playoff matchups, we'll start with number 8 versus number 9. We got Oklahoma versus Alabama, big time SEC rematch. John Mateer going in there, kind of about 2.5 months removed from the surgery to his throwing hand. Defense is the name of the game for Oklahoma. Alabama, people were speculating, should they have been in the playoffs, this, that, and the other. They're bitching and whining about Alabama because they got their ass kicked in the conference championship. But we also saw the generational run that they went on to the middle of the season where they had 5 or 6 ranked SEC wins in a row. We've seen high-quality football. They've had a couple weeks to kind of rest up and get things under wraps, and they have to prove something. They have to prove that they belong in the playoffs. So there's incentive on both sides to say this is going to be a very, very tight ball game. Probably one of the toughest matchups in this round of the college football playoffs on the board. So, and you look at Alabama and Oklahoma. Chad, I'll start with you. Did you have what were your predictions? Gosh, Lee.
Predictions
for the upcoming matchup.
Well, I really think. No, I'm just kidding. I think that
Rage Band has started.
Yes, so I still think Oklahoma is going to beat Alabama, and it could be by 1 or by 3. I think this year's going to be. I mean, what was it? 20? What was the game?
21, I believe.
2 points. I think it's going to be just as close, if not closer. I don't see how Alabama's favored as 1.5 points, especially. I know it's the beginning of the season.
It's a home game for Oklahoma.
Yeah, it's a home game for Oklahoma. They lose to Oklahoma at Alabama this year, and then they go to the conference championship, get absolutely destroyed. Not absolutely, but get beat down by Georgia. And, it's a recipe for disaster for Alabama, in my opinion. To go to Norman after already losing your conference championship game to Georgia and already losing at home to Oklahoma, I'm just like, I don't know how Oklahoma isn't favored. I would have them favored by 3.5 points, in my opinion.
That's a good point.
Maybe 2.5, if that.
Yeah, that's a good point. Turner?
Yeah, I'm with Chad. I mean, I don't think it's still be a close game. It's going to be a low-scoring game. It's going to be quite boring because, look at the Oklahoma-LSU game. LSU is Oklahoma's offense just can't really produce the numbers that, an Ohio State offense or Indiana offense could do with the teams against other conferences. Granted, it's SEC. We can go out of the debacle later down the road, but I just don't think that Alabama is on a high. They have really struggled these past couple of games. Look at the Auburn game, and then they only beat them by a touchdown. But it was that they really didn't score in the second half of the Auburn game at all. Auburn really started putting it to them. And then we saw the Georgia game, and Chad, to correct you, yeah, they did get spanked. They lost for 21 points, and the fourth quarter, that touchdown that Alabama had was a pity touchdown. It was late fourth quarter. You're just it had no impact really of the game. So I still think Oklahoma wins. It's not by much. I probably have by 3, maybe 20-17. Oklahoma.
Yeah, I think what's important for Alabama is, if you've noticed with the games that they have been close with subpar SEC teams, Jam Miller is not playing for Alabama. There's not really an established run game. And Ryan Williams has to find a way to come alive, in my opinion. Kirk Herbstreit said this, and it's kind of a shocking statement, but he was he's just not a pass catcher, which is wild to say about a receiver, but the amount of drops that he has, I don't think he's just the weapon that everybody has hyped him up to be. So I think there is a kind of a false flag operation going on with Alabama, basically saying we are this, but in reality, when you face a team that has an identity, we don't really know Alabama's identity. We really don't, because when they get in these tough, nitty-gritty matchups, they kind of fold under pressure, or they're high turnover differentials. But Oklahoma, we know exactly what they are. They don't really care how they win. They just do. And with the battle-tested schedule that they have, going 10-2 was quite the feat. I know Mateer, that offense, they don't really protect the quarterback well. They don't really establish the run game. It's kind of mediocre, and the receivers aren't really getting open in space. But their defense is what wins somebody a championship. A lot like a Notre Dame last year, where that defense kind of led them to each different game against Georgia. I know they had the backup quarterback, but the defense for Notre Dame in the secondary was phenomenal. So I think it's going to be a lot like that. A part of me wanted to say Alabama puts it together because they have a chip on their shoulder to prove something, and it's really hard to screw up 4 games in a row. But I think Oklahoma has a chance to go win it all. Not saying that they will, but I think they have a good chance. I think people are underestimating them. I think Oklahoma wins this game. I'm going to say, Oklahoma wins this game 16-13.
God.
Yeah, I'm telling you, that's how they like to win, man. It's just low scoring. And it's like, oh, they were close with LSU. It's like, bro, they've been close with everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think like the last, I think I said this before, like when we were in a text, I think like the last two games, like, I think the score was like 17-6. Like the total of the game was 23 points, 24 points or something like that. I'm like, good grief.
Exactly. It is an exciting football, but they do find a way to win. And then on the flip side, the Texas A&M Aggies are the 7th seed. They're playing at home versus the Miami Hurricanes. And a lot of controversy around whether the Miami Hurricanes should be in the college football playoff. You've had a couple of hiccups with Carson Beck throwing interceptions against Louisville and SMU, but had a pretty dominating first portion of the season. They're kind of starting to peak at the right time, and they're dangerous. But College game day is going to Texas A&M. A&M is a pretty dominant team at Kyle Field. It's a very tricky environment to go into. What's interesting about this game from an Aggie perspective is two things. One, when college game day goes to Kyle Field, they're 1-11. Two, they have this weird ticky-tack relationship with Miami when they play them. They've been miles better than Miami in the past and still lost. It's been one of those weird out-of-conference games. We went over there, we lost. They came here, and we beat them. So it's kind of like the best out of three that's going to happen here. And of course, A&M is a little bit sour after the Texas Longhorns spoiled their undefeated season in their SEC championship appearance, but that's given them 3 weeks to get healthy, 3 weeks to kind of recoup and set sights. So with all that being said, Chad, what are your predictions for this matchup?
I think A&M snaps the college game day quote unquote curse, and I think Texas A&M wins. I'm gonna go 24-20. I don't think it's gonna be a high scoring game, but I also think that it's gonna be a big fight between Marcel Reed and Carson Beck. Like I think I'm not saying that offense you have to have a good offense and a good defense, but I think this game is going to come down to Marcel Reed and Carson Beck. Because if Marcel Reed played the way he did against South Carolina, I think they beat Texas and they're in the SEC championship or whoever.
The second half?
Yeah. Or if they have better play calls. Like I think, but if they don't, then I think it's going to be like 21-20 or something like that. I still think A&M comes on top. But I think this one's going to be big on Carson Beck and Marcel Reed.
I mean, that's another question I asked. Like, do y'all have Colin Klein in all this?
No, we had to elevate. I can't remember. I saw his name literally earlier today, but we elevated him to. Well, I did read that Colin Klein is doing the remainder of the season. That's what I read. While you're doing the predictions, I'll double check on that.
Well, I mean, I have my theory that Texas A&M might have thrown the game to not play the SEC championship because it might be worse for their seeding. But that's just me putting on a tinfoil hat. Realistically, I'm with you, Chad. It is going to come down to Carson Beck and Marcel Reed. Because realistically, I think both of them are going to throw at least 2 picks each. Yeah. And it's just really going to come down to who's going to be more poised, who's going to have more composure in the pocket. Because Marcel Reed, I think he needs to be more of a scrambler when it comes to these scenarios like this. Carson Beck obviously is not really known for his scrambling ability, but he can definitely throw on the run if he needs to. I just think Miami's defense is pretty good. I just don't literally the only reason why Miami has had their struggles is because of the offense. I mean, the defense has kept them in the SMU game where SMU for the entirety of the quarter had 2 rushing yards up until overtime. Literally they quit because Carson Beck threw a goal line freaking interception. They were just like, well, they can just kick a field goal and win this freaking thing. So, but I do think playing at Kyle Field is probably one of the hardest places to play because of how loud it is and with how many people are going to be there. And it's just the environment there. It's just going to not be in Miami's favor. So I'm going to go A&M. I think they win by, I think I'm with you, Chad. I really think they win by 4, but I think it's going to be 31-27. I think it's going to be a little high scoring.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be a slow first half. But the second half is when it really starts popping up.
I feel like all first round games are super slow.
Yeah, it's because they're trying to get the feel.
Even with who did Penn State play in the first round?
It was SMU.
Boys or
Yeah, I just felt like that game was super slow, and then it was just like boom.
Well, it's because SMU who's their quarterback again?
Jennings.
Jennings. Yeah,
Jennings, yeah.
he threw like 4 interceptions. That's
Yeah,
why it was
they just-
slow, and nobody
They
really
just
wanted
didn't
to
have
watch
the
it.
depth.
Yeah.
They just literally just got. I mean, it was a whiteout game at Penn State. Like this when
Yeah,
they're
you ain't winning that
yeah,
in the
it's
North.
yeah, exactly. It's prime time, like whiteout. It's loud. It's just
Cold.
it's cold. Yeah,
I'm going to call this. If Marcel Reed throws 2 picks in the first half, A&M doesn't score in the second half. I'm going to throw that. I think Marcel Reed's just going to go, in my opinion. I think his morale is going to go down. I think his offense, I think he's not going to have any confidence because I guarantee you that was in his head when they were playing Texas. Like, it was just like, what are these play calls? Like, I guarantee you that's what he was saying to himself. But he can't, I'm not saying he can't question it, but what do you say?
I'm just gonna disagree with you there because, like, have you not seen Mike Elko's halftime speeches? Like, it makes you want to run through a freaking brick wall with how many f-bombs he drops.
You know, I still have speculation that A&M did what they did, not on purpose. You know, when Marcel Reed rolled his ankle, I think they were like, we got to preserve. We know we're a playoff lock. And so I was like, I don't know, you guys are laughing at me. I'm not saying they lost on purpose. I'm saying I think they made the offense vanilla in a way to conserve Marcel Reed because he rolled his ankle. I think that's a real fear. They said, well, dude, what's more important, a rivalry game versus Texas or getting into the playoffs? And so I don't know. I think my philosophy would have been, let's beat Texas. But, you know, when your star quarterback, who was a Heisman candidate at the time, rolls his ankle in the first half and he was down on the ground, you're like, oh shit, we kind of have a bigger picture to play here. The offense for Texas A&M can sometimes go into a complete shell, and you can kind of watch that. But what every team, Jacob pointed this out weeks ago, what every team does against Texas A&M is they make one decision on defense. It's either stack the box or they drop 8. They're either going to they're going to make Marcel Reed beat you through the air, or they're going to make the run game beat you. And so what they've been doing lately after the loss of Le'Veon Moss is they're trying to make Marcel Reed beat you, and they're dropping 7-8 into coverage every play. And so you're probably going to see a lot of that versus Miami. But at the same time, you know, I did look it up. Colin Klein is going to remain the coordinator throughout the end of the year. I remember reading that, but they promoted Holman Wiggins, the wide receivers coach, to permanent OC when the season is done. So they already found their replacement for coordinating. What I see from Marcel Reed and the offense this game is it's going to be they're going to try and establish the run game first and foremost. They're going to try and take the pressure off of Marcel Reed. I think Marcel Reed's going to get more active in the running game. I think they're going to try and run him a lot more to kind of have that respect to say, okay, we do have to stack the box. And that might open some explosive plays for Mario Craver and Concepcion, who has been dealing with an injury as well. Le'Veon Moss is questionable, but if he were to play, he would be the catalyst, in my opinion. That dude is phenomenal. He's a phenomenal running back. He just has an injury problem. Flip side, defense. Miami's defense is pretty good, and Carson Beck, he's good when he chooses to be. When his eyes are looking forward and not side to side, I think Carson Beck plays really well. But there are times when Carson Beck is literally, I know he's a quarterback, but he's literally the reason that they lose. Just he has this tendency to make dumb decisions. And so with Cassius Howell rushing the quarterback and Willie III and Scooby Williams and Torian York playing linebacker, I think Texas A&M gets after him. I think they get some pressure, causes some turnovers, makes it more relaxing for Texas A&M offensively, and A&M wins this game 34-23. I think it's going to be kind of like, I know there's a lot of pressure around A&M right now, but I have seen it. I believe in Elko's. I believe in their unit. I believe they're a talented team, and I don't think they're going to let their fans down at home, but it is going to be competitive. I think it's going to be close to the first half, like you guys were mentioning. That is what A&M does, and then that halftime comes through, and they're just a different team walking out in the second half. 34-23, Texas A&M at home. They advance to play Ohio State. We'll see how that goes.
Yippee.
All right. Well, we covered everything, gentlemen.
I do want to say one thing.
Yes.
Audience, don't be so hard on Jared. He was looking up the Colin Klein situation, so that's why he repeated everything that I just said in that moment where I literally started to freak out a little bit.
When I said Colin Klein was returning?
That's why we were laughing so much.
Because you literally say, like, the one, like, tinfoil hat, like, they might have, like, lost on purpose. I literally said that in my little segment when I was speaking.
I was just adding on to your stuff.
And you were saying I wasn't going to listen.
I know. How the turntables.
I had a reason.
Which is why I said it. That's why
I'm
I
moderating here.
I put my hand up over here, letting the
Sure.
audience know.
The way you leaned into the camera was really funny.
I felt like his forehead come towards the camera.
All
when I
right.
was talking.
I don't
My
know.
gosh.
I got a big
No,
noggin.
that's what I meant. Like I can see your head like when I'm in my peripheral.
When I was saying you got a big head.
Are you serious?
No,
Dude, I'm contacting HR in this shit. Are you kidding me?
on the setup, your screen is on the right side of my
Who do I need
computer.
to
So
talk
if you're
to?
moving, I can see you on peripheral.
Likely.
moving.
So now I'm a big guy is what you're trying to tell me. I can't handle this slander.
No, you're small.
Now,
Yeah.
I
See, which one do you want? Yeah. We thought you and Chad were going to be the ones bickering.
Yeah, I
Apparently
know.
it's
This
me
is
and
fun.
Yeah,
I like being on
but-
this end of the stick.
yeah, no shit. Don't think you're out of the woods yet, though, you little hooker.
you.
Yeah, wah.
Oh, thank you guys for joining in. Want to go?
What the heck is going on?
That's
What
funny.
happens in
Well, I
this story
apologize.
is gets you
That's
picked
No,
up
it's,
one
it's,
by one.
it was just good banter. It's fun.
put that on the record.
Yikers.